Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock, I'm Ryan Shepherd and here are the latest Solent Sports News headlines. There's a key battle in the bottom half of the Premier League on Saturday as Southampton take on Burnley. The Saints are hoping to pick up their second win of the season following their 1-0 victory against Leeds last weekend. Meanwhile, the Clarets are still looking for their first win as Ralph Hasenhüttl declares the league is getting stronger.
In my opinion, it is getting more difficult every year. The teams are getting stronger. Every team is getting stronger. And winning in the Premier League gets more difficult every year.
We sent Hayden Baker to the Silver Lake Stadium to find out how Eastleigh are preparing for Saturday's game.
Eastleigh Football Club are back in National League action tomorrow as they host fellow playoff hopefuls Altrincham at the Silver Lake Stadium. The Spitfires come into this one after a tense pair of games against Ishmael League side Folkestone in the FA Cup, where the Blues needed a replay to secure their place in the first round. The extra game was an unwanted distraction for Ben Streven's side, and the Eastleigh manager knows it will be a tough ask for the players to bounce back tomorrow.
Folkestone on a Saturday or Tuesday, that ain't easy. Playing Altrincham on a Saturday, that's the nature of football. It's a hard business, everyone wants to win. But when you've got 11 people trying to beat you, not everyone can win. We're trying our best. The boys are working fantastically hard.
Thankfully for Eastleigh, they go into the game without any injury concerns, barring long-term absentee Alex Winter. But Eastleigh fan Matt Temple thinks the heavy schedule could make things difficult.
I think it's a tough game. I think we've had a long week, having played Folkestone, a team a few leagues below us twice, and they really pushed us all the way. So I hope we can get something from it. We need a bit of consistency in the team at the moment, so we just have to see how Strez lines up and hopefully get something from the game. They're
coming up against an Altrincham side that are in fine form, winning 4 of their last 6 games to lift themselves up to 7th in the table, the last playoff place. Both meetings last season ended in a 1-1 draw. 2 games still fresh in the memory for Eastleigh centre-back Andrew Boyce.
I think it'll be a tough game. Altrincham are a good side. I think we've seen that they were a good side last season. I know the league position weren't great for the football they play. Obviously they've took it into this season and they've started really well. So yeah, it'll be a tough game, but we're looking forward to it.
Although it is early in the season, it could be a massive game for Eastleigh's promotion hopes. But being back at home, in front of their fans, hopefully will give the Spitfires the edge.
Let's cross Nive now to Ollie Johnson, who's outside the Silver Lake Stadium. Ollie, what has Eastleigh's season been like so far?
Well, it's been a bit of an up and down start, to be honest with you, Ryan. But in all fairness, they've won 5 of their last home games in the league. So it's pretty good compared to the fact that they've had 2 games against a tough opposition in Folkestone this week. Folkestone, as Hayden said, took them right to the distance in both games. It was just a 90 plus 5 minute winning goal in the home game on Saturday, which took it to a replay, and then on Tuesday night it went all the way to extra time. So it's been a tough old season for Eastleigh.
And what can we expect from the opposition on Saturday, Ollie?
Well, Altrincham currently sat 7th in the league, and they're coming off winning away against Southport in the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup. They've also had an away win against Yeovil Town earlier on in the season, so they're a very strong opposition, and I think could be a very tough game for Ben Streven's side. It's not a given, believe it or not, it's not a given for Altrincham to come and give them a tough game, but performances haven't been quite there this week, if we're being perfectly honest. So there's going to be a lot of changes needed, I think, if Eastleigh want to get this one over the line.
Following the Newcastle takeover, Alain Saint-Maximin has spoken out on pressure to remain in the Premier League. With the club searching for a new manager, the French winger believes the club will appoint the best man for the job.
I think every people understand that, even the people by the club. So I'm sure they will take a time for find the best option it's possible to find for Newcastle and for we stay in the league.
Newcastle will be looking for a new manager as Steve Bruce was sacked by the Northern club earlier this week. Joe Parker has more.
Newcastle United would like to place on record its gratitude to Steve for his contribution, and the club say they would like to wish him well for the future.
Newcastle United Football Club have sacked their manager Steve Bruce. The move was expected following the club's £305 million Saudi-led takeover.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Just days after reaching 1,000 games in management, Steve Bruce has been sacked by Newcastle United. The news doesn't come as much of a surprise though, as the club was taken over by a Saudi consortium, making the Tyneside-based club the richest team in the world, with the partnership valued at around $420 billion. The majority of Newcastle fans have been calling for Bruce's head for a while, as they currently sit in 19th position with just Norwich below them in the table. Here are the views of the fans on the sacking and what they need in the future to progress forward like they should be looking to do.
Steve, I'm very disappointed. I think he's done his best. I think the players have done badly on Sunday. I was there and I thought they were absolutely pathetic. And I think I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad he's gone. I'm relieved for him more than anything else, because he was.
We bleed black and white. He's always tried his best. You know, he's like a lamb to the slaughter, Jim. I felt sorry for him stood there on Sunday.
I do agree that it's just a short-term manager that we need. And nobody in their right mind is going to take this job at the minute because it's a short-term appointment.
Former chairman Sir John Hall said that despite how much of a nice chap Bruce was, it was the right time for a change at the club and they had no choice.
Well, that's no argument about it. He's a nice chap, easy to get on with, but in the sense of time's just run out for him. The fans lost confidence in him, and once you do that, you've got to reorganise. And they have no choice. They have no choice now but to find.
Speaking of Newcastle's managerial search, the club are rumoured to be in talks with former Roma and Shakhtar boss Paulo Fonseca. The 48-year-old Portuguese is believed to be keen on the role, having already been interviewed by Amanda Staveley and Mirdad Gudusi. Fonseca missed out last summer on being appointed Tottenham manager, as they favoured Nuno Espirito Santo. England women's captain Leah Williamson hopes the side will get to play at Wembley Stadium more often. Their 2023 World Cup qualifier with Northern Ireland is their first competitive fixture at the National Stadium since it was redeveloped. Williamson feels it should be a more regular event.
I think it's the right time now. The women's game's got to that level where we can bring the people in to see it. And yeah, it's a good day for us as players. It helps us grow, and for the country as a whole, I don't know why we wouldn't want to celebrate high performance sport on the biggest stage.
The postponed fifth test between England and India will be played next year. Edgbaston will host a series decider between the 1st and the 5th of July after the test at Emirates Old Trafford in September was called off due to COVID-19 concerns in the India camp. India lead the series 2-1. Reporting on this story, we've got Sam Holmes.
England and India will play their postponed fifth test match at Edgbaston from the 1st of July to the 5th next year. Due to be held at Old Trafford, the series decider was called off after India withdrew over COVID-19 concerns. The Cricket Board said Old Trafford could not hold a rearranged test because of complexities in the schedule and a lack of time to prepare the pitch because of pre-planned events. ECB Chief Executive Tom Harrison said, "We are very pleased that we have reached an agreement with the Board of Control for Cricket in India to finish off the series."
England cricketer David Willey says missing out on the 2019 World Cup has made him a better player. The left-arm all-rounder was dropped on the eve of the tournament for Jofra Archer. Willey wants to help Owen Morgan's side succeed at the current T20 World Cup.
It's what you play in the garden, it's what you play in your living room as a kid playing in the World Cup final, and to be a part of it for 4 years and obviously miss out was disappointing, but I think the personal growth from me there on and probably refocusing back on just enjoying my cricket has been massive for me, and it's probably why I'm sat here today.
England opener Dom Sibley has withdrawn from the England Lions squad for the tour in Australia to work on his batting. The 26-year-old was named in the 14-man squad last week, which shadows the main England Ashes squad. Yorkshire batter Harry Brook has been named as Sibley's replacement. Last weekend, the Jacksonville Jaguars defeated the Miami Dolphins 23-30 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. American football has been a spike in popularity in the UK recently. The Solent Redhawks have been impressed with a number of new players trialling for the team as they look to reach the playoffs. George Harrison has more.
And he got it! He got it! Jacksonville wins and ends the second longest losing streak in NFL history.
Since the introduction of the NFL London Games in 2007, there's been a growth in popularity in American football in the UK. Viewing figures are up 40% year on year, and the two games this month at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium saw over 60,000 fans at both. American football is especially popular at universities, with more and more students attending trials every year.
My name's Daniel McMillan and I'm the head coach of the Solent Redhawks University American football team. We've had the NFL playing games in London, Tottenham and Wembley previous for a good number of years now, and we're just starting to see everybody getting on board with why it's such a good game. It means everything, and you can see really people just wanting to come along and give it a go. So at the university level here, we're just all about offering the opportunity and allowing people to dip the toe in. If they like it, they'll probably fall in love with it. If they fall in love with it, then we're going to have a good team.
The Solent Redhawks are one of the many teams in the British University's American Football League. They currently compete in Division 2 of the South Western Conference and are looking to return to the First Division.
I think more people want to try out and play. There's more opportunities as well in universities, and you've got academies like Solent Academy.
That was Lewis Dixon, the safety for the Redhawks, who is impressed by the number of players looking to improve his team. On a larger scale, the British American Football Association national leagues are vastly improving, with some teams pushing for a place in the European leagues. Captain of the Redhawks, Louis Moakes, can see progress in the UK's American football setup.
You see it in university sport now, you're getting more and more players that just turn up to tryouts and finally love the sport. As much as people don't want to say it's a common sport in England, it's getting to that point where it's growing, and we've got a team in England now that's applying for European leagues. So London Warriors, they're a big one here. They're literally the focal point for American football. You want to be at that level and play at the next level.
NFL research reported there to be over 13 million fans in the UK. This, alongside the increase of participation in the sport, makes it likely that we could see a UK franchise in the NFL. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who play a game in London each season, are talked about to be the team that moves to the English capital. NFL journalist Sam Barnett isn't sure if it will happen anytime soon though.
Well, I think a few years ago it was definitely a big possibility, especially with Roger Goodell talking about it, along with Daniel Levy, who was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in NFL UK. But I think due to COVID-19, it's been pushed back for quite a while, so I can't see a franchise being there in the foreseeable future.
Many UK NFL fans are dreaming that a franchise in London will happen so they can experience moments like this.
Zach Wilson throwing left, and he's got his man, Jamison Crowder, for the 2-point conversion.
More often. George Harrison, Solent Sports News.
Dillian White has been forced to back out of next week's heavyweight bout against Otto Wallin. The 33-year-old Brit has suffered a shoulder injury during his training camp and won't be able to take on the powerful Swede. Wallin was hoping to use Dillian White as a stepping stone to get to the champion Tyson Fury. British tennis star Andy Murray has been knocked out of the European Open in Antwerp. The former number one blew a 4-1 lead in the first set to Argentina's Diego Schwartzman, who is ranked number 14 in the world. Despite winning the second set 6-4, Murray eventually lost the tiebreak 8-6. In anticipation to the last 6 races of the US Grand Prix, Honda's Max Verstappen states he and his team need more performances on the track to beat Lewis Hamilton to the title. The Dutch driver, who currently occupies first place, has spoken on the speed advantage that Mercedes and Hamilton possess, but states he's not concerned about it. That's all from us now. I'll be back in an hour.